And good evening, everyone. ESS, Empire State Sports, proudly presents the Wise Guys Sports Talk Show. Your host tonight, Dave Bellap, Joy Rio, myself, Pete Goslaw, and a very special guest, Malone Golf Course Pro, Scott Delair. Scott, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Pete. Thank you for having me, guys. Happy to be on the show with you here.
Well, Scott, glad that you could join us. This will be kind of cool because you're not the first pro from Malone that we've interviewed. We were just talking off air that we've had the pleasure of talking to Derek Sprague a couple of times back when I was a member at Malone, and then now with him at TPC Sawgrass. But we want to give you an opportunity to maybe introduce yourself to some of the people that may not know who the Malone Golf Pro is. So
Sure.
What we're looking for to start is we'll let you give a little background about yourself, where you're from, where you went to school, how you ended up here, college, whatever you want to talk about. And then we'll kind of feed off of that and go from there.
Sure. I'll try not to share too much, but started playing golf in Tupper Lake. That's where I'm from. So not too far away. Stayed pretty close to home. Ended up going to college at Delhi, studied golf management, and it's pretty cool how it all came full circle. I did my first internship. It's a requirement of the golf management program at Malone. And at the time you mentioned Derek, he had just been elected secretary of the PGA, which eventually leads to the presidency. So I worked for him in 2011. I did a couple internships at Saranac Inn the years following, and eventually came back to Malone after I graduated as an assistant pro. I was there for 4 seasons then, and I ended up taking a seasonal job in Phoenix at Greyhawk Golf Club. And that led to a full-time teaching and club fitting position outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, in the Reading area. And the reason it's all full circle, because I did my first internship in 2011, and in 2021, I was offered the position of the director of golf. So a decade later, after, learning a lot from Derek, going back and being at the Malone Golf Club and, eventually sitting in the office that he did for, close to 3 decades. So certainly been the honor of my golf career so far. It's been fun. Like I said, it's cool how things all come back around.
Well, you certainly are. I think you already know this, but if you're humble, you probably don't come out and say it. But if you're also, if you're the boss of this place, you are at the top golf facility in the North Country easily, at least north of Lake Placid, north of Watertown, west of Plattsburgh. You're the go-to destination with 36 unbelievable holes. I was a member there for 10 years and still play there a lot. Mm-hmm. It's got to be something for that to be where you're working right now. You got to pinch yourself every day. You got into the world of golf. You're still in the North Country, if that was a goal of yours, and you're in probably the mecca of golf courses in the North Country.
Definitely. It's it's a highly regarded course. It was that way well before I was there. So yeah, it's humbling for sure. The first few days when I got back in March before the golf course opened, I caught myself just kind of sitting in the chair and, just looking around and, spinning around, looking at the wall saying, wow, I can't believe I'm here. Because as a 31-year-old, relative to the industry, to the 28,000 PGA professionals, I'm pretty young to fall into a position like that. But on the flip side of the coin, Derek was also really young when he took that position. So I think it's a nice trend. The Malone Golf Club has had a history of having really good PGA professionals who not only work there, but grew up there as well. So are North Country guys, and it's nice to continue with tradition.
So going back to being at Delhi, just a curious question. You went there to become a golf pro, right?
Yep.
Okay. Now, I never hear this. It seems like I don't anyway. the people I know that went to become what you're doing, did you play college golf as well?
I
Or,
did.
okay.
Yeah, I didn't play all 4 years, but I did play for a time while I was there. Mostly, I decided to turn professional as a, not as a golf professional per se, but as a player. And when you do that, NCAA doesn't let you play college golf anymore. But at the time, I felt like I was at a point where thought I could get a head start on making some money. So I ended up signing up as a pro to play in a few events, and I forewent my senior year of playing college golf, but that's okay. I had a great experience while I did, and being at a school with we probably had 70 kids or so in the program. There certainly, wasn't hard to find a match or some competitive game on the weekend or something like that. So even though I didn't play college golf all the way through, it's still plenty of opportunity to keep my game sharp, or at least try to.
So you said you're from Tupper Lake. You went to high school in Tupper Lake?
I did, yeah.
Did you have my brother?
I did.
Okay.
He was our chemistry teacher at the time, but
Okay.
yep. Great guy. Tells a really funny joke about the ether bunny.
I've heard it.
Who was your golf coach in high school?
The first few years it was Mr. Steve Skiff, and my last 2 years it was Mr. Cook, Dan Cook.
Yep.
I had a couple of them through high school.
Yep. Know them both well.
Yep. Both great guys.
Well, Russ Bartlett and Steve Skiff both been on this show before too, so you joined that illustrious list of Tupper Lake popular people that have been on this show. So
yeah,
not a bad group of guys to be in the same conversation as, I guess.
Yes, it is. So here's a question. And Dave probably will want to chime in on this, but how challenging has it been this season at the golf course with the amount of rain that we have gotten in the North Country this year? I mean, I'm going to assume, I haven't been to Malone in a month now, but when I played a month ago, it was as green as I've ever seen it. And normally Malone is anyway, but even the rough, you usually by the middle of July, the outskirts of your rough is starting to brown a little bit. And
right.
But I mean, everywhere I've gone, the mountain golf courses, there's not a single course that has a drop of brown. Now I can't speak for Inlet with Dave, but Lake Placid, Saranac region, I've played Saranac in Craigwood. I've seen them all, and it's just there. I can't believe how green it is. So what kind of challenge is that for you two guys, both you as a director, Dave as a greenskeeper, when you've got weather like we've had this year with all the rain?
We don't know what color the grass is right now. We have to wait for the water to go away before we can see the grass. It's one giant water hazard.
It's been tough for sure. I have to give a lot of kudos to our superintendent, Dustin Beauregard, his turf team. Dave, you know full well how much work it is, managing play, trying to keep the golf course in good playing shape. And we have to date, I think 3.5 times the annual average for inches of rainfall. And that's a lot. It's the challenge on my end, my challenges, I'm sure, are going to be different than Dave's and different than our turf teams, but managing play, canceling, postponing events, stoppages of play, and just trying to predict what's going to happen, making the schedule, and trying to manage all of those employees is tough to do, and you don't know what's going to happen in the next 5 days weather wise, and when you think you have a good idea, the forecast changes, and things get wet in a hurry. So it's been challenging. It's getting to the point now where it's almost comical, to be honest with you, whenever we see it rain. But just another day. I know, a quick example, a group of players that have really gotten hit hard by it. We do a Thursday night ladies league, and we go 13 weeks, and we had to cancel 5 of them.
Wow.
Yeah, that's creeping up on half, and that's where the comical part is it was every Thursday. Every Thursday we could bank on rain.
We've been fortunate. We haven't really had to cancel too much. I think we lost one outing. We have had to close our back 9 a few times. Our back 9 is lower in elevation. We've got a lot of clay soil, so there's a couple of holes that just don't drain, and we have actual water hazards on 9 of our 18 holes.
Mm-hmm.
And the beavers have been wreaking havoc
Oh.
because they found out, they build their dams, we tear them out. They found out if they go under the bridges, we can't reach them. And they're just killing us.
It's golf's one of those things. We play it outside, and we're kind of at the mercy of the elements, and
Yeah.
everything that goes along with it. And at the end of the day, that's what makes golf pretty cool. Is no golf course is the same, but we all have similar challenges in that regard.
Yep, I agree.
So Scott, I mean, usually from somebody that plays there a lot, I mean, usually Malone or the West is your main issue when it comes to rain. And when I played, it would have been about July 24th, 31st, somewhere in there is when I last played up there. And we played the West. I mean, 15 was a little damp, but really I was impressed how well it was holding the water, considering I went in there with an open mind thinking, boy, we're playing the West. There's probably a decent chance we're going to have standing water somewhere. But no, I thought it looks like it's handled it all right. How do you feel about it?
It has. Like you said, there's always the few holes that just sit really low on the property, that most of the water runs off to. But just a lot of work on the drainage system, keeping on it, making sure that we can move some water around if we need to. For the most part, it really hasn't had a huge impact on play. I think there's only been a few days, maybe 2 days this season, where we haven't been able to let carts out. But other than that, that's really been our only closures, per se. Obviously we're still open for walking, and it was never for the whole day. We could usually get people out in the afternoon if it didn't continue to rain. And we're a place that is a high volume golf course. Typically we do 200 rounds a day. The busier days are closer to 300. So even considering all the rain and all the foot traffic and the cart traffic that the course has seen, especially, it's held its own. It's been in great shape. East has too. Both golf courses are really good. Lucky enough, I played today, and I did play the West, and even 15, there wasn't really any standing water anymore. Not getting a whole lot of run out on the back 9, that's for sure. It pretty much, carry and total are the same numbers today, but it's great. The greens are rolling well. The bunkers have drained pretty well, and the fairways are, they're still able to get mowers over it, and things are in great shape.
Being an older guy now, an older golfer, you know how it goes. As you get older, you lose some distance, and it's been a tough year for somebody like myself who's still playing the men's tees. Right. Because you're not getting any run out, and if you're not, that's the one thing about a driver. If you want to talk about the game of golf, is at least if you mishit it in July or August and it's near the ground, you're gonna get some rollout, but not this year. I mean, you've got to hit the ball with carry. And funny thing is, Scott, and I do want to talk to you about club fitting. Mm-hmm. When I fitted for my first driver, Derek helped me out, and that was one of the things that Derek told me. He said, you want to be able to carry the ball. I always had a low ball flight. You want to
Sure.
have as much carry as you possibly can
Mhm.
because you can't count on turf conditions being hard all the time.
Right.
And it's really proving that point this year. You've got to be able to hit the ball in the air this year to be able to hit it as far as you want.
No doubt. No doubt.
Um, well, let's talk a little bit about that now. So talk a little bit about club fitting. Is that something that you're involved in? And, tell our listeners, it's something that I never did when I was a really good golfer and was a 3-4 handicap back in my day. I used to laugh at everybody that got their clubs. I said, look at me, I'm a 3 handicap. I just buy these things off the rack. I'm good enough. But now that I've got fitted, everything in my bag is fitted to me. I'm like, what could I have been had I actually done it back when I was a 3-4 handicap? It really does make a difference, does it not?
Absolutely. Yeah. Obviously I'm not doing, club fitting nearly to the capacity I was when I was living in Philadelphia. Well, not in Philadelphia, but in Pennsylvania. And there I may have done 400 to 500 fittings a year.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, that was another high capacity place. Typically maybe 400 to 500 fittings. Not all full bag fittings. Some are just wedge fittings, some are just driver fittings, or something, along those lines. And that's kind of ballparking it. Maybe taught a little bit more than that. Maybe another 400 to 500 appointments ish. I I'm guessing it's probably pretty close to that ballpark, but just the technology boom that has happened in the last decade is incredible. Even, I wasn't club fitting 10 years ago, but I can assume that the way that people fit golf clubs a decade ago compared to today is totally different. And with so many options, so many variables, and so many different swings, no one swings the golf club the same way. People deliver it differently, they load it differently, it's faster, slower, all these things. And with so many options, I can't imagine trying to play golf not getting fitted.
I don't swing the same way twice.
Right. Right. Exactly.
So are you, and can you say, are you affiliated with a brand?
I'm a Strixon staff professional. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So that's one of the companies that I endorse. A few others that I do business with, Titleist and Ping. Uh, Pretty much everyone makes a really, really good product today. If you're in golf retail, and you're in big box retailer stores, you'd better have good equipment. Because if you don't, you're probably not gonna last too long. So it's safe to say that anything that you could potentially buy is pretty good. Some maybe better than others, but that's kind of a personal thing. I think it more or less is, does this, the characteristics of this golf club work for this person, more so than saying, well, this driver is better than this driver because it's made by X, Y, and Z company.
How much of that is mental though?
It could be. It could be. I got a lot of funny stories about club fitting, but I've, obviously there's guys that come in that say, I'm a Titleist guy. And I was like, that's awesome. How much are they paying you? Are they paying you good?
Right?
So I try to shake that sense of, being married to a company early. But if someone truly has preferences, for whatever reason, that's fine. Chances are that there's going to be something within their line of clubs that work for them. And that's the beauty of it too, is within every company, there's a couple of different options, even within one club, like with driver. A lot of companies are making 4 or 5 different iterations of the same model just to accommodate a lot of different impact characteristics and a lot of different swings.
I've noticed that. Like
Mhm.
you know, I guess what comes to mind is like the Callaway. You have the Maverick, and then the Sub Zero, and then and they 5 different drivers. It's
Mhm.
all the same driver, but they're different.
Yep. Yep. A lot of it is, CG. because not everyone hits the center of the club face, right? So off center hits, something is created if, say, two objects collide and their center of gravities aren't lined up, they twist, right? That's called gear effect. So with all those movable weights that you see on drivers, to put it simply, it says draw or fade, but what you're really doing is you're moving the center of gravity. And if someone knows what they're doing, they're trying to move the center of gravity behind their usual strike point, because what that does is it reduces the side spin of the golf ball. Or to put it simply, draw or fade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Scott, I was a member of Malone for, I don't know, 5-6 years.
Mhm.
My favorite club is the cheapest one I can buy at a garage sale. So I just want to throw that out there, because that's about how I played, and it was, so maybe you can hook me up.
And that's fine too.
Hey, maybe you can hook me up when I go back up north. You never know.
Come on up.
Okay. No, I did. I was a member up there 5-6 years back, early 2000s. Now I'm in Florida, and I got golf courses all over me, and I haven't gone. I don't know why I haven't gone. I guess I got to start stepping it up. But right now it's too hot and wet. So
Yeah, you guys have some weather coming through too, right?
terrible. Yeah.
Well, I need to get to Malone and play. Last time I played Malone, it was an 18-hole course.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Hey, that man, that's, well, I won't say it out loud.
1987. I will.
Yeah. That's all right.
Dating yourself, Dave.
Hey.
Hey, so Scott, getting back to club fitting for just a second, because I'm going down. Hopefully this hurricane is on its way out, because I'm leaving Sunday to go down to the Villages. My father lives in the Villages in Florida, and they have a club champion there. And so I've been fitted the last 2 times I've gone down. I got irons the last time. And I actually got fitted for a putter, which was an interesting experience, getting fitted for a putter. Really cool.
Yep.
But the thing that just amazes me, it's not just club champion, is anybody's going to do the fitting. And obviously you've done this before, that you haven't mentioned yet and we did mention about it, like you as a fitter, not a teacher, club champ, they could care less about your golf swing.
Yep.
And I was so nervous the first time I went down. I'm like, I don't want these guys to think I'm a hacker. Well, they don't care if I'm a hacker. They're going to try to match up the club to your crappy swing. And that's the thing that started to make me realize, holy cow, they're actually straightening my ball out, or they're getting me 5-10 more yards. And correct me if I'm wrong, but they really pushed when I was getting fitted for my irons, they really pushed the ball speed as not club head speed, and but the ball speed. And then what's the combination of the two? The smash factor? Is that what they call the combination of the club head speed and ball speed? They really pushed those 2 numbers more than your club head speed.
No doubt. Efficiency, well, smash factor, I guess it depends which interface you're used to seeing. TrackMan, for instance, calls it smash factor. And Foresight Sports, which, GC Quad, Bushnell Launch Pro, that style launch bar, they call it efficiency, but it's the same thing. So it's how much energy you're getting out of the golf ball, relative to your club head speed. So say you swing it at 100 miles an hour. If you hit it, right in the center of the club face, you should get somewhere in the neighborhood of 148 to 150 miles an hour ball speed, because that's as much as the USGA allows. So you're actually not allowed to have an efficiency number above 1.5. And efficiency is indicative more of how well the club is working for you, more so than what your skill level is. Because if 2 players both hit it in the center of the club face and they get the maximum amount of club head speed, one might have 110 miles an hour driver speed, the other one might have 80. But if they're both, getting as much out of it as they could, it's a good sign that the golf club is working for them.
Well, to anybody that's listening and paying attention, I can tell you from experience now, and obviously we're talking to somebody that's was in that line of work, and obviously still is to a degree. If you have the opportunity, if you've got a few bucks, and one of the reasons I did it was, if you're passionate about the game of golf and play it as much as I do, if you're just get out there and play every once in a while, then I get it. But if you're passionate about golf and you want to play it to the best of your ability, then then that's probably where your money should be being spent. Help yourself enjoy the game a little bit more. I guess is what I'm saying. And again, I do regret that I didn't do it 20 years ago when I was a real player, not some old fart now, just trying to pick up a few extra yards.
Well, now technology's on your side.
True.
And it's the cynical question that I ask when people say, well, I don't know if I need to get fit. I say, well, what size shoe do you wear? And if they say, well, I wear a 9 wide, and I say, well, how do you know that? And they say, well, I tried them on, and I was like, and obviously golf clubs are a bit more expensive than shoes are, but the beauty of it, places like Club Champion, they make it quite affordable to get fitted golf clubs and not pay much more than what you usually would retail. A lot of times you can even get a really good fitting and a really good suggestion for free. Like here at Malone, for instance, not anymore scheduled for this year, but going into next year, if people listening are thinking about it, and hopefully I'm opening some eyes to it. We have free fitting days. We have vendors that come out, they send their tech reps, they send their fitters. I'm also up there helping out. And you don't even really have to buy the equipment. If you just want to get fit, just to see what it's like, just to try out some new stuff and see if there's something that's out there that might work a little bit better than what's been in your bag. And it's at no cost to you. We typically do 3 or 4 fitting days a year. We had to postpone a few because of rain this year, but and a lot of courses are the same way too. So there's certainly avenues that people could go down and not spend an arm and a leg, so to say.
Well, again, I think you're absolutely right, Scott. It was an eye opener to me, and now I won't think about buying a club without getting fitted. So next week, hybrids are the only thing in my bag that's not been fitted for me. They're like 12 years old, and so that's what I'm focusing on. Just those couple of clubs next week, and they do that. So so I'm looking forward to that.
I'm interested to hear how your putter fitting went, because I think putter fittings are probably the most important club to get fit for.
Right.
That's the one you touch the ball the most with.
Well,
even a good day, that's 25, 26, 28 times.
And I got to be honest with you. I mean, I understand that, the touring pro is going to get his club, but I didn't realize that was even an option until somebody got it done, that it was a friend of mine. And I'm like, you got fitted for your putter? And I'm like, I didn't even know you could do that. So that was the first club I ever got fitted for was the putter. So, and yeah, it just makes a huge difference. It's set to me. And that's what I love about it. So, yeah, and you're right. It's in your hand. Probably if you're playing 18 holes, it's got to be in your hand 28 to 36 times if you two putt every hole. So it's in your hand a lot.
52, 54 times.
Well, hopefully, if you got fitted for your putter, you're getting into the low 30.
Maybe that's the issue. No. The guys that I play with, at first they used to just say that it was unfair for me because, I mean, I mow the greens, I take care of the greens, I cut the cups, and when I cut the cups, I've got my equipment. I've got the cup cutter, I've got the cup setter, I've got the putter, I've got the balls. I mean, it takes I can do all 18 holes in 2 hours, but it usually takes me more like 3 because I like to find the spot, and then I'll go around and I'll putt to that spot, to see if it's going to be a good spot, a bad spot, you know. And but then once they decided, instead of saying it's unfair, then they just started, what's this putt going to do? I say, ask me, I'll tell you. You know. So my putting is vastly improved since I've started taking care of the greens.
For sure. I bet.
So then now I'll add a fitted putter to that, and wow, I'll make every single one of them.
No doubt.
Well, Scott, talk a little bit. Let's change the subject here and talk a little bit about any events or anything coming up for Malone. Anything that might be on the you're working on in the background that you could talk about, or I've always thought, geez, Malone does a great job of hosting tournaments. Just the regular tournaments that you see in it, but anything bigger on the horizon, maybe if for Malone, or anything that being discussed?
We definitely have a couple good events still throughout the year. This coming Sunday is the Adirondack Open. It's going to be the 4th year that we did it, which it's a nice break from the 4-person scramble. So now we get to host an individual medal play event. And we host quite a few events and a number of medal play events, but this is something a little bit different than what we've done. So this one's going to be a fun one. Coming up, a few more scrambles throughout the year. The Muckers League has their annual tournament, but in the background, so during the pandemic, golf essentially it shut down for a little while and then it exploded, right? And we're in geographically a unique position where a lot of our members are regular customers, people that play there quite a bit, live on the other side of the border. So during the pandemic, we didn't see them for a few years. And because of that, the member guest wasn't contested. Participation may have been falling off a little bit. But now that golf's back on this upswing, we decided, we're going to try something new, and we're going to try to get more people to participate in this event. So we're going to open it up to any 2-person team, and that's the Partners Open. And this year is the 3rd annual, super, super fun event. It's 3 days, kind of took the place of our old member guest, but now we're in this situation where we want to host a member guest. And the Partners Open is also becoming really popular and, it's being talked about a lot more often. So now we're in this unique position where we can do both. So next year, what we're working towards is bringing back the member guest, but doing it without sacrificing this new event that we created. So finding a date, working that into our event schedule, which is usually a pretty busy one, is exciting. That work definitely is starting now. We're already booking events into 2024, especially ones that typically keep the same weekend, because we do host a lot of annual events. And now that, like I said, golf is in this part, or in this phase where participation is really, really high. It's numbers that we haven't seen since the Tiger boom, right? The early 2000s, when Tiger Woods made it super cool to play golf, and so everyone did. Now we find ourselves in a position where we're seeing that again. Golf was really accessible during the pandemic. Platforms like this, other digital media sources that do a great job of making golf look fun and inviting, is really growing participation. So now making sure that we keep those golfers, those new golfers, and working on an event schedule that's going to accommodate essentially a new generation of golfers. Malone especially is seeing that, where it's very diverse in the sense that we have people that have been members for 40, 50 years, and we have people that just started playing golf 2 years ago, but both equally as active and participating in the game. So getting an event schedule together that's going to pacify all those niches of golfers is a challenge, but that work's starting now, and it's exciting.
Well, being somebody that I used to set my calendar around Malone member guests back in the day. And I remember, it was 144 teams. That was the max you could take. It was 36 holes with two foursomes
Mm-hmm.
on every hole, waiting to go. And it was 5.5 hours guaranteed, but nobody complained about it.
Yep.
It was the best run tournament and the most fun. The format was awesome. And you haven't lived until you've won the first flight out of 12 flights and go down to 100 yards in front of 500 people standing around the 18th green, playing a 2-man alternate ball in from there to try to win the whole thing. And that is the coolest thing in the world to me, because you had 12 flights, and I was lucky enough with Rich White to win the first flight 3 different times. And that's, your best golfers.
Mm-hmm.
But yet we're out there against hackers in the 12th flight from 100 yards. Well, anything can happen from 100 yards. And it always did. Rich and I never won. We never won the overall. It was always somebody from another flight. And you haven't lived until you've had that experience of standing out on the 18th green, sculling one into the people standing around the back of the green. It was great. And it was just, I set my calendar around Malone member guests. In fact, I remember skipping a 6-man. I was member at St. Lawrence University at the time. I made a 6-man team, or no, my 6-man qualifier, because of a rain date, got moved to Malone member guest. And I was, after day 1, was in the top 6. And I skipped it. I went to Malone member guest instead. That's how much it meant to me. I'd rather play Malone member guest. And it was the practice round too. The practice round was great. I'd always play with Jerry Welch in the practice round, and I'm not passing that up for anything. Yeah. So I always look forward to that. I just thought it was so much fun. And so I would love to hear that it's making its way back, the Malone member guest, especially back to the way it used to be.
Yeah. So that's the exciting part. The Partners Open, for the most part, kind of reflected the structure of the member guest, in the sense that we did a Friday practice round event, and then Saturday was Shamble. So if you don't know the format, each player hits their own tee ball. You select which one is the best, just like you would in a scramble, but then you'd play your own ball in from there. So pretty cool format. And then scramble on Sunday, and just like old member guest, the winners of each flight went to 18th fairway for the shootout, and then alternate shot from there in to decide a winner. So really, really fun atmosphere. And then now that that's in place, now it's the balancing act of replicating a member guest, maybe trying to try something new, because we don't want to take away from the Partners Open. So that's going to be the challenge, but it's a good challenge. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, here's hoping that you get it back in some form or fashion. I really hope you do, because I always thought it was the best run tournament in the North Country. And I played Potsdam member guests. I played St. Lawrence member guests, Messina member guests. I've played in all of them. Nothing compared to Malone. I set my calendar by Malone member guest. It was always my favorite weekend of the year. So here's hoping that you get that back.
Hopefully we'll have you back too.
I might come out of retirement for that. Yes. I don't play competitive golf anymore, Scott, but that one I probably would. I'd probably come out of retirement for that.
Well, Richie White hasn't lost a step. I guess he played on Saturday, and he played the course. I think he had 70 yards to the stick on 17.
Yes, so he played with me. So it was Friday that he played, Thursday or Friday, because he played with me on Saturday in my tournament out here in Winthrop. And that was the talk. Flickster came up and said, "Hey, he had 70 yards." Well, and after playing with him, he played par 3 tournament with me on Friday night, and then played a 4-man scramble with me on Saturday.
Mhm.
And like, and Rich is 3 to 4 years older than me, and I'm like, he's just bombing it. And I'm like, and I just got fitted. I just got fitted for irons, and he's 3. He used to be 1, and then it became 2. He's now 3 clubs longer than I am, and I just got fitted for clubs, and I'm hitting them longer than I ever have. And I'm like, he's just amazing to me. So yeah, maybe we can figure out a way. Or the partner open's open to anybody, right?
Absolutely.
Even if I wasn't a member at Malone, and obviously he's moved to Rochester, the 2 of us could come play in the partner open, right?
No doubt. No doubt.
So maybe we do that. Yeah.
He's like Benjamin Button. He just has more birthdays and the ball just goes farther.
It is, and he didn't really play a lot this year, Scott. I mean, he moved to Rochester, and it's a new situation for him, and he only played 4 or 5 times, but he was just bombing it the other day. So, but well, Scott, this has been great. Before we do get off, I just did. How often do you get to talk to Derek, or do you? Or has Derek come home in a while? Have you seen him?
Once in a while, we'll exchange, a text message every now and then. I was pretty fortunate. We went down and we played Sawgrass over the winter. So, me and a group of guys, and it was great to catch up with him. Obviously, he has a reputation of being very good at what he does, and to see his fingerprint and how much work goes into being the GM of TPC Sawgrass. Really, really cool. I haven't seen him at Malone maybe once or twice since I've came back. But I know he does, he comes up and he sees family and stuff. But we don't see him stopping into the golf club as often as we'd like. Obviously he's a busy guy, but once in a while we're able to catch up.
Well, and I know he's not going to forget his roots, and I'm sure if you are lucky enough to be in that area and you can, somehow stop by and see him, he's going to treat you right. So that was good that you guys were able to see Sawgrass. So what you get on 17? Did you par it?
The second day, yeah, we played 2 rounds there. I hopped one over the green in the water the first day, and second day I left one short of the hole and left the birdie putt right in the heart. Never got it there.
Can you see how that hole might be nerve-wracking with $5-6 million on the line?
I'll tell you what, the TV makes that hole look 4 times bigger than it is. From the tee, that green does not look very big, and when you're on it, it looks even smaller. So that old shot from the first time that Tiger won the Players, the putt from the back of the green.
Yeah.
I don't know how TV made it look like that ball was rolling for so long, because that putt makes that green look huge, but it's not a big green. It's quite a small target.
Well, that's pretty cool that you were able to play that. So, yeah, and it's also just cool to have somebody like Derek in your back. I know he'd be there for you if you needed him, especially since you're, working at his former place, that he was there for so long. And he's done so many great things. He was able to get me and my buddies to work the 2016 Ryder Cup. That was so cool. And then the next year he was working at Liberty National and got us into the President's Cup, which was there. So he'll do anything for you if able. So glad that he's still a part of taking care of our golfers from the North Country.
No doubt. The 2025 Ryder Cup is going to be a lot of fun. I don't know if you saw that announcement from a few weeks
It's at Bethpage. Yes,
Bethpage.
I've sent my email in to volunteer, so let's see if that happens or not. Now, it's funny we just bring that up. So I'm going to ask you: have you had the ability or pleasure to see or play at Bethpage?
No, not yet. Well, that's false. We played 1 round at the Black, but it's a bear. When we played it, it was 45 degrees. It was cold and rainy, and we didn't have a whole lot of fun. And of course we had to play it all the way back. So that made it a lot tougher.
And
But
the only one of the reasons I'm asking though, Scott, too, is a close friend of mine who goes to every U.S. Open and any Ryder Cup that's, this side of the Mississippi.
mhm.
He is not looking forward to Bethpage Black. He thinks that's one of the hardest courses to be a viewer, a spectator at,
I
to
could
be
see
able to
that.
watch golf.
I could see that.
Yeah.
It's a tough walk too. Tough walk. It's not flat by any means. It's long and it's hilly and tough place to get around. I haven't seen all the courses there on property, but I know that the fan base is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
If you're not there live watching it, I think it's still going to be a lot of fun to watch on TV.
Right. Well, and it's funny you bring this up too. I think, is it next year's President's Cup is in Montreal. It's at Royal Montreal, which is a lot easier to get to than you think. It was there in 2007 when Mike Weir beat Tiger. I wasn't at that one. I was actually there the day Woody Austin, if anybody can remember Woody Austin falling into the pond after a shot. But what a great venue that is. And so you got a couple of chances over the next 2 years to see international match play golf with President's Cup at Royal Montreal and Ryder Cup in 2025 at Bethpage Black.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh. Well, Scott, this hour flew by. Here's hoping great things for you at Malone Golf Club. It sounds like you're doing a great job there. We're glad that you were able to find some time to come on. Hopefully your membership will watch this and realize how lucky they are to have you as their director of golf there. And we look forward to hearing any good news that you'll be able to share with us about Malone Golf going forward.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, guys. Truly a pleasure. Yep.
Real quick too. We had I think it was a group of like 16 guys from here, from the Old Forge area, came up. I want to say it was either Wednesday or Sunday and played. And they all, I talked to several of them, and they all had a great time up there.
Good.
It was all their first time playing in Malone, and they
Glad
said
to hear.
the course was great. They had a really good time.
Was that Chris's group? White? Was that?
Yes.
The name? Yeah.
Yep.
Glad they
They're
enjoyed
doing
it.
they're doing this thing where they're just, it's it's the end. It's coming close to the end of the season here. We've got like 5 weeks left, and then we're done. So a lot of guys will start doing that. They'll start kind of barnstorming, and playing a bunch of different courses. So
Very cool. It's a great time of year to do it too. Especially now that weather's going to start turning and the foliage is going to start kicking in. So it's definitely a good time to see a lot of golf in the North Country.
Yeah.
And of course, you can't believe anything a weatherman says this year, Scott.
Oh,
but
crazy.
But just checking the 14-day forecast, it's supposed to be the next couple days, a little chance of some drizzle and some light rain. And it's supposed to be like 70s, 80s for 10 days with no rain in the forecast. We'll see if that happens or not. But
we all deserve it. That's
well.
for sure.
And I've always said, especially now that I've gotten older, and you just mentioned it, Scott, fall golf is the best golf. If you get a nice day in the fall with the colors, you cannot beat fall golf.
Absolutely.
So here's hoping that we do have that kind of weather.
Well, Scott, thank you very much for being on our program. I really appreciate it. Wish you nothing but the best of luck up there. Hopefully you can come back on our program maybe in the spring and give us an update of what we're looking forward to for next year. How's that?
Sounds good. Love to do it.
Sounds good. Thanks for coming on. That's going to be it here tonight on ESS, Empire State Sports, and the Wise Guy Sports Talk Show for Dave, Joey, myself, and our special guest, Scott Delair. Good night, everybody, and stay safe.